'Tis time for the Texas Renaissance Festival. Over 400 artisans and craftspeople await you in our beautifully recreated 16th century village. Enjoy a worldwide menu featuring savory dishes, tasty sweets, and a variety of drinks. Revel in the finest musicians, entertainers, and nightly fireworks. And you can stay the weekend with our Stay and Play Pass. Open weekends and Thanksgiving Friday from October 11th through November 30th. Get tickets and more at texrenfest.com. Family merriment awaits. Huzzah! Y'all, we have a complicated relationship with Rainey Street, and just when we're getting over it, it shows back up in the news. Whether it's talking about the new ridiculously tall building in our skyline, or it's a 40-page report debunking the Rainey Street Ripper. So today on CityCast Austin, we thought we'd revisit our conversation on the street we love to hate. It's Thursday, September 18th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here today to talk about Rainey Street with our Hey Austin newsletter editor, Kelsey Bradshaw. What's up, Kelsey?
Hello, hello.
And good friend, Doug Leviton. Doug and I guess we've known each other at this point for several years. I found out 4 days ago that, that you have been performing on Rainey Street for 11 years.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
No one's performed that long on Rainey.
No one.
No one, no building.
No thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to get into this because I do feel like Rainey is one of those divisive topics in the city. So I'm excited about it. So it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in Austin. It dates back to 1884 when downtown was subdivided. For many years, it was like a working class Chicano neighborhood right in the shadow of I-35 and was always a residential street. As early as 1981, there were concerns about the future of Rainey Street. People worried that it was becoming too dense and changing. And then in 2004, the neighborhood was rezoned altogether so that it could be developed into what it has become now. And so over time, all of the single-family homes were sold, and now these gigantic ugly-ass high-rises were conceptualized and eventually built. So let's talk about our interactions with Rainey so that we all know kind of like where our starting point is and where we fit into this timeline. The question here is, did you have a Rainey Street era in Austin? And if so, when did it start? How did it kick off? What was it like? I'm going to start with you, Doug, because duh.
That's why I'm here, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember ever going on to Rainey Street prior to my friend Kenny Valentine connecting me with the owners at Half Step. And that was back in 2014. So I have a band called Can Beats. We're an instrumental trio. And my buddy Kenny saw us perform and said, hey, I got a friend, Chris Bostic. He just opened up this bar, Half Step, a couple months ago. And he's looking for a regular band to play Wednesdays. I think you'd be a great fit. And so we started up in May of 2014. And after that first show, Chris, the owner, was like, we need to have y'all back every week. And we have never left. So I guess that's my first interaction with Rainey, was actually performing. Yeah. And it was starting to become this hotbed. I don't think it was there yet, but there was a little buzz going around and people were excited. There were these cool house bars that were popping up. Luster Pearl was the first one, I believe, to do it. You had Javelina and you had Craft Pride.
Yes.
All these awesome spots that were just, they took the house and they converted it into a bar or a restaurant. And then, you had like Garage Mahal that was there for some awesome Indian food. And it was a cool little strip.
Yeah.
Fast forward to about 2019, we started to see these big properties go up.
Yeah.
And it was funny because as soon as so Half Step is at 75.5 Rainey. The right across the street is 70 Rainey. It's a big high-rise condo complex.
Yeah.
As soon as they opened up their doors, they started complaining about noise.
Really?
Really.
Oh my God.
And I was on the music commission at the time, so I was like, okay, who do I need to talk to about this agent of change? You know, these condos coming into an entertainment strip and complaining about music. It's very reminiscent of what happened over on Red River.
Yep.
With people complaining about Mohawk and Stubbs. So I knew this problem has happened before. There has to have been precedent. Turns out there was no legal precedent. It was just recommendations. We had some issues, but years later, now 70 Rainey has a restaurant bar downstairs, and they blast music louder than we do. So, there you go.
Kelsey, what about you?
Well, so I actually get a little nostalgic talking about this because I didn't start going to Rainey until I was in college. But no, I remember coming up here. I went to school at Texas State in San Marcos, and I remember coming up 35 to go to Rainey Street in like 2015, 2016. And that's when that's when I thought like Container Bar was the coolest place ever.
Yes.
Or that like bungalow with the like, I hate you so much thing in the back was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I didn't know any history of the street. And I was just like, wow, this is the coolest place ever. Like, I remember going to like there was like a fancy restaurant in one of the like first houses. But I just remember being like, wow, yeah, like this is the spot. Like this is so cool. And then when I learned about how, all of these people who had lived there forever got pushed out and like mainly people of color got pushed out, I was like, oh, this is less fun to me. This is less exciting. Not to be like, wow, I'm such a good ally, but it really did dampen the whole thing for me. And it's funny now, like hearing people who are younger than me talk about it, like they talk about Rainey Street in a very like, wow, it used to be so fun. And like their history of Rainey is like even shorter than mine was. Like they don't know still kind of thing. And like when I moved here, I was like going out to Rainey Street. I feel like I did a couple of times, but it was never like the spot. Because then it kind of became a little too fratty for me. And then I would end up only being out there during South by Southwest, like for Doc Martens at Container Bar or just like any kind of activation or anything happening would be on Rainey Street.
I have a similar experience to Doug. I started going literally when Luster Pearl opened. We started hearing about this bar that was opening on this street with all of these houses. And I just remember hearing Rainey and I was like, wait a minute, isn't that over where all those little cute houses are? And being kind of like slightly aware, but not really aware. And I remember going to Luster Pearl one time because a friend of mine was like, come on, we got to check it out once. I hated it immediately. I don't even know at this point why I didn't like it, but I was just like, why am I going to sit in this house and drink when I can sit in my own house and drink? And that was back in the day. I was a little more broke than I am now.
Sure.
I was like, come on. I feel like I'm sitting in my grandma's house paying to drink alcohol. But then fast forward and Bangers opened in like 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Bangers got me early because they had a big Mardi Gras party and there were all these brass bands. If you say the word brass band, there's a good chance that Nikki is going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter where it is.
Nikki appears out of thin air.
Like poof. That's how they pulled me in. Bangers every year would have this bomb-ass Mardi Gras party with all of these great brass bands. And it would just be a full day event. And they would pass out beads and they had the real good brunch at the time. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I can sit outside and watch brass bands and watch little kids run around and shit. And I liked it. But then I started to see the way it felt like every year I would come back and it'd be 3 more bars. And every year I'd come back and it'd be 2 more bars. And it's like every time I would go back to Bangers, it would look more different. Craft Pride started booking the band that I was in, and they had a Via 313 truck in the back.
Oh, bomb pizza.
Oh my God. I was like, okay, now y'all really playing with my emotions. It's my favorite pizza in the city, and my band is playing. So back in the day, that was the only reason I would go. Mm-hmm. I would go for Bangers. I would go if I had a Craft Pride gig. And then Eisenhower's had this like mason jar punch sangria thing. Let me tell you something. I've only been blackout drunk a handful of times in my life, like 3. One of those times was Eisenhower's because they would serve this mason jar sangria
Oh, yeah.
for like $9 in a mason jar. And you're just shit-faced for the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember Bangers. I remember them like going viral because they did that big ass mimosa. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I always wanted to do that.
The Banger's Big Mimosa is a man-mosa with an entire bottle of champagne.
Wow.
Yes. I need to do that. I do think as a CityCast outing, an investigation, something that we need to do for our listeners and readers is to go drink that.
Man-mosa.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember. I remember having some of the best food in the city.
Yeah.
Grouch Mahal was some of the best food in the city.
Yeah.
And when I would go down, it was cool. It wasn't overcrowded. It hadn't gotten douchey yet.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like there was such a small window where Rainey Street was quote unquote cool.
It
Right.
was.
Mhm.
It was a good window.
You know, before the frat and sororities got a hold of it and all the bachelorette parties where it was like, oh, you needed to know through word of mouth about Rainey Street because that's where all the locals were going. You know, it was just house bars. Like there was no high rise in sight.
Just house bars.
Yeah.
Just house bars.
And,
Yeah.
you know, you had like a food truck parking lot across from Half Step. But yeah, it was just like that small window, probably from maybe 2012 to 2015.
I remember Blackheart.
Oh,
The Blackheart,
yes, Blackheart
had a sign up that said no bachelorette parties.
Yeah, Blackheart was a special place.
It was a really good place, man. I love Blackheart.
Those who were not fortunate enough to walk in those doors, it was a venue. It was the only official working venue. They had an inside small stage, they had an outdoor bigger stage, and it reminded me of Hole in the Wall.
I love Blackheart. Oh,
Wait, that's so cool. I missed that. That didn't happen for me.
Oh, no. Oh, Kelsey, that didn't happen for me.
That sounds freaking awesome.
It was awesome. Blackheart was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good spot too during South by. They'd always book awesome acts and fond memories of Blackheart. I'm glad you brought that up.
Step into the conversation shaping Texas's future at the Texas Tribune Festival. The Texas Tribune is bringing together inspiring thinkers, leaders, and innovators to discuss the issues that matter to you. Dive into unforgettable conversations spanning education, the economy, healthcare, energy, technology, public safety, culture, the arts, and more. TribFest gives you an up-close look at how big ideas take shape and how they affect your life. You'll connect with fellow Texans, engage directly with experts and leaders, and leave inspired to turn your boldest ideas into reality. And y'all, this isn't just another political event. It's a catalyst for shaping the future of Texas today. So mark your calendar, November 13th through 15th in downtown Austin. Get info and tickets at tribfest.org. Imagine this, your next podcast recorded in the same studio where you're hearing this right now. That's Trick Hat Workway. Trick Hat is Austin's most hospitality-driven co-working space. And yes, they've got a pro-level podcast studio designed for creators, teams, and businesses who want high-quality recordings without the stress of hunting down space or gear. Just show up, plug in, and hit record. Outside the studio, Trick Hat's got you covered. From private offices to dedicated desks, they offer flexible co-working options to fit any business or entrepreneur's needs. And can we talk about the perks? Freshly brewed coffee from Manana, endless snacks, and crispy Diet Cokes. But what really makes Trick Hat different is the energy. From weekly networking opportunities to community trick chats, it's more than a place to work. It's where Austin comes to connect, create, and have fun doing it. Whether you're producing your next big idea or just need a space that feels good to work in, Trick Hat Workway is waiting for you, where it's always old Austin, new tricks. Visit trickhatworkway.com to learn more today. So now we're going to move forward to what it is. Admittedly, it had been a minute since I had been down on Rainey Street, but in February, Doug's partner, Selena, a friend of the podcast she's been on, had a Galentine's DJ event where it was like her and DJ Mahalani and another DJ, and they were at Half Step. And y'all, first of all, I had never been to Half Step, Doug. I had never been.
That's the jam on Rainey.
It is the jam. I hadn't danced that much in years. It was perfect. It was like that perfect mix of like enough space where you could dance, somewhere that you could sit down. Like it wasn't douchey, which I was so surprised about being on Rainey. And it was awesome. So then I went back again the other night for research. And, you know, you were right. Half Step is the only place on that block right now worth going. Our ad guy, Dan, used to live on Rainey, and he says it stopped being cool when the sun stopped shining on Rainey Street because of all the high rises. So
it's really noticeable.
It's really noticeable. So for those folks who haven't been down there a while, let's fill them in. Like, what is Rainey Street like today? Who is it for? When is the best time to go? Should we even bother? I'm going to start with you, Kelsey, this time.
Okay. So I hadn't been to Rainey Street for anything other than like a South by Southwest activation in a long time. I did go to the most fun thing ever during South by. I've talked about it 800 times on this podcast. It was the Love is Blind reunion watch party where Netflix, I guess, spent $1 billion getting every single person who's ever been on Love is Blind to be at Lucille's on Rainey Street. And that was a great time. So I texted my friend, Eric, another friend of the pod, and I said, hi, do you want to go to Rainey Street on Friday for research for the podcast? And he responded, what a demonic text to receive. So like, that's kind of the vibe, right? Like we were kind of going and being like, all right, we have to go for my work and we'll go and it'll be fine. And we went to Emma and Rye. One of the best restaurants in the city is on Rainey Street.
Hands down.
We went to Half Step and it was nice. It was really cute and I really liked it in there. We were like sitting out on like seating that was near the street. And I did really like that. Like there aren't too many places that it's kind of contained like that, right? Like when you're on East 6th and East 7th and everything, it's like there's still so many cars going by.
Yeah.
And Rainey Street, there's not too many cars and it's like a lot of really good people watching. And so I was really enjoying myself with that. Like we were just sitting on a patio, having a drink, doing some people watching, chit-chatting.
Yeah.
So we did that and then we walked down the street and we went to the new bungalow, which I think is housed in the old Eisenhower's building. Everyone's very excited that bungalow is back. They have their I hate you so much sign still, whatever. And then I guess I'm 95 years old because literally right at 9 p.m. and we were having a great time. We had delicious drinks. The bartender like recommended a really nice, I think it was a strawberry drink, Nikki, so you can't have it, but it was delicious. And we were like sitting in the back. It was so nice. They had live music in the front. And then at 9 p.m., they turned that music up probably 50 points or whatever. Yeah.
Let's flush out these old people. Let's flush them out. Flush them out.
We have to go. Like, I can't do this. Yeah, I don't know what Rainey Street is anymore. You know, I did see a lot of like, there were a couple of bachelorette parties out there. I kept seeing like groups of like older men, and I'd never really seen that on Rainey before. And I just didn't, and it's like, I didn't even see a bunch of UT kids, you know? And I know that they're out of school and like whatever, but I don't know, it was weird.
Listen, the speed at which I will take my behind home if the music is too loud.
It was so loud.
I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the benediction. Grandma has to go home. This is too much.
And I was having a really nice time before that. Like I felt like I was like not in Austin. Like I felt like I was in a different city a little bit. And it was nice.
So, okay, I feel like now Rainey Street is this very weird mix, literally, between East, West, and Dirty Six. It's like not as gross as Dirty Six. You know what I mean? Not as gross. The crowd isn't as young. It's not as dude bro as it was for a while, like West 6.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that anymore.
Yeah, but it's like weird. It's still not cool.
Right. And it's still right. It's still not East 6th. And like I think
Yeah.
East 6th is the coolest of them all.
Right. So for a while, I've been to Geraldine's a couple of times because Geraldine's I just think is cute, and they have this like potatoes bravas that I cannot get enough of. They were doing residencies for artists for a while, where every Friday in a month you could see the same band or whatever. But then I would like valet and then go right back to my car and then go home. But when we went the other night, we went to Half Step, which again. Love. I've now been a couple of times and it has been consistently good for me. It's been consistent. We went across the street to Cantina 512 where there are like benches that are swings.
Yeah, that's directly across from Half Step. That's the high rise that I was talking about.
Okay. Listen, let me tell you something. I could hear their music.
Right?
Before we left Half Step, I could hear their music. And then we got there and it was a ghost town. On a Friday night at 11 o'clock, there were 5 of us. And five of us in our party, and then like 5 other people sprinkled around this it is a huge bar. There's like a loft area, there's an inside, there's an outside. And I'm like, how is this place staying open? If there's nobody here on a Friday night, it's 11 p.m. What is happening?
Oh, wow. You made it to 11 p.m.?
Oh, I didn't even get to Half Step until 9:45.
Oh, my God.
Because I wanted to see like the thick of the night. A Friday night at 11 o'clock. East 6th Street is bumping. Same with Dirty 6. So like that's prime area. I'm not going to say it was a ghost town, but it was not a lot of people down there for it being like kind of prime time. So that's where I am with it. I'm like, I can't put my finger on what it is they're trying to do. Are they trying to reinvent themselves? Doug, what about you, Doug? What do you think it is now?
Well, and to kind of paint a more vivid picture of Rainey Street, it is pretty much landlocked. It's kind of cut off by Driscoll Street, and then it kind of like wraps around and then gets to like East Avenue. But it's not a very long strip, and you have the largest high rises on that street.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. And it's funny you brought up the history of that street and how they were worried about like density back in the 80s and 90s. And it's like, it's absolutely ridiculous now. And what I have noticed is there's not that many people on the street compared to how many high rises there are. So
yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, because who can afford?
Yeah.
The people who can afford it, that's crazy to me.
And do those people really want to be living on Rainey? But it's definitely gone through some changes since I've seen it. We could see the fireworks every 4th of July from Half Step. Can't do that now.
Yeah, no.
God.
We barely get any sunshine at Half Step because we have there's a bunch of hotels that are behind us, and then there's the condos in front of us. Yeah, it's changed kind of the vibe. Yeah.
Because I used to be able to, I used to get sunburned on Rainy Street. And I'd be out in the sun all day on Rainy.
There was no protection.
Yeah. And I was like drunk on Rainy Street,
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where everyone was. And that's what we were doing. And like we were there to drink. And now I don't know. It's
definitely not as popular as it used to be, is what I've noticed. You still get the bachelorette parties, the convention center crowds that come through. But a lot of it's, what I've seen, it's mostly out-of-towners coming through. It's not locals that are just casually walking down Rainey Street. I used to DJ Friday or Saturday nights down there, and seeing that crowd, it was not the crowd I enjoyed. It's a different vibe during the week. And when I tell people about my Wednesday gig at Half Step, and I say Rainey Street, I get the eye roll, I get the cringe face, and I have to say, no. Like, it's really this oasis in the middle of the chaos. It's like the most highbrow dive bar you've ever been to, where you can be wearing flip-flops and a tank top, or you can be dressed up and still feel comfortable. I've taken my grandma and my mom there to see Michael Hale Trio and Mac McIntosh on Tuesday nights.
I love that.
Really, anyone and everyone feel comfortable there. But it is a high craft cocktail lounge. Like, they are serving drinks that are world class. Their ice game is better than anyone else around. They juice all their own mixers, so it's just high quality.
Yeah.
Nowhere else on the street have I found that offers that kind of quality and that environment that, you can kind of kick your feet up. You don't feel like it's hustle and bustle. I've had a friend that played at the Eisenhower's brunch gig. That was debauchery.
Oh.
The Night Owls.
Yes.
They would do Sunday brunch there
yes.
in that back patio area, and it was wall-to-wall people, each one of them having one or two of the mason jars in hand.
Yep. I did drive by on the Sunday after we went down there, and it was more banging on that Sunday during the day than it was on Friday night.
Yeah.
So we've heard that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sunday brunch evidently are the days that you want to go to Rainey, is what I keep hearing.
I tell people, go during the week. It's not going to be as chaotic. There, you can typically find street parking, but even that street parking's been dwindling from all these high rises going up.
What's the crowd like on Wednesday? What is the vibe?
We get some regulars, but again, it's a lot of out of towners. And what is great about the people that are coming in, they hear the music first, they get pulled into the bar, and then they come inside and they realize what they were hearing on the speakers was the band that is playing right now. So you get that quintessential aha Austin moment that everybody hears about. And we've heard that from, these out-of-towners I went down 6th Street, everyone was playing covers, I thought this was a music town, where's the good Austin music? And then they walk by Half Step, they're like, oh, here it is. They get that quintessential experience of discovery, of hearing Austin bands that everyone talks about around the world. Oh, you got to go to Austin and catch some music. We have a pretty good local following, but also an international following that just happens to stumble into a bar on a Wednesday night and, discovers music that they would have never come across had they, just stayed on 6th.
It feels like a shame that this neighborhood, this street full of cute little houses and bungalows were all uprooted just so that Rainey Street could end up essentially cycling itself out and now and become obscure and make room for a bunch of hotels and high rises. It's like you uprooted something that was kind of cool and special just so that you could create an all right entertainment street for tourists. It's kind of what it sounds like is happening.
If you're going to do all that, you need to make sure it's really awesome and fun forever.
Exactly. That is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Now it's dumb.
So now here we are. We're going to talk about the future, right? We're Rainey Street continues to evolve. There's scaffolding all over the place. There's construction everywhere. They're building, the water line, which is going to be downtown's tallest tower. Currently, it's under construction at the end of Rainey.
Yeah.
74 stories, 354 residences, and then office space.
And it ain't even cute.
Oh, Doug, you took the words out of my mouth. But it's this enormous street, right by Lady Bird Lake, and also 354 residences, to the downtown supply, along with office space, blah, 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 blah. It feels like this is the future of Rainey Street. And it's not growing into something that I feel is adding to the skyline of our city or anything like that in really inventive or artistic ways. So, I'm going to keep it a buck. I think it's just going to become not obsolete, but obscure. I think it's just going to be oh, that's that street for tourists. And less and less and less and less and less people that are Austinites are going to want to be bothered. Are going to want to go. I don't see it making a comeback. I could be wrong. I don't see it making a comeback. How do y'all feel about it? What do y'all think?
I agree. Yeah, it's if there was any charm, it lost it a while ago. Yeah. But it's just going to get more and more expensive for the bars that are there to continue to operate. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, it's just going to be speckles of, the bars that were there. That's kind of the storyline of this city is, let's just build up and hope that people fill up those condos but it's not for locals. They aren't solving the affordability issue. We're being priced out left and right. And, what was Rainey Street is no longer there. It's just kind of a facade.
Yeah. What about you, Kelsey? What do you think?
I fully agree. I don't have really anything new to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll just get sadder and more touristy, I think. It's not a place for Austinites, I don't think, or it's losing that more and more kind of thing. And I think the people who will be able to afford to live there are not the people who made Austin what it is, right? When we talk about Austin and how Austin, what Austin's personality and how iconic the city is and its weirdness or whatever, I don't think it's people typically who can afford to live in a high rise on Rainey Street. I think it's our artists and musicians and actual weirdos. And so I think it's just kind of all right, cool, great, thanks. Thanks for these buildings. Mm-hmm. And we'll have to find somewhere else to go, I guess, for their bachelorette parties.
So, our producer Eva Ruth made a point that the San Antonio Riverwalk, the main part, used to be really touristy and lame, and now it's so much better. And she's asking maybe it can have a 10th life and be cool again. But I don't know. I'm curious if San Antonio, people that live in San Antonio, feel that way about the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if they could find a way to bring back cool shit, if they could find a way to kind of follow Half Step's model and bring back more live music and more, you know what I mean? If they could really invest in the culture of Austin, if they could really invest in who we are as a city, maybe they could have some sort of comeback. But so far, all I've seen personally is just a copy and paste kind of model of these bars that'll be around for a couple of years and then, they get priced out. And then it just insert the next bar. Right. Or a bar at the bottom of a high rise that can afford to have 7 people in it on Friday, blasting music across the street. You know what I mean?
I hope someone takes the time to do all that stuff you just said, I feel that will take time. And I feel more and more we're seeing that people aren't taking the time to make sure things are special or cool or just anything. So,
well, and I think there's no real return on investment, or at least financial return on investment for a bar to be that cool and to draw in, that kind of crowd that enjoys that. Austin has lost a lot of its charm over the years, as we know, and it's because we are selling our souls to the highest bidder. And we're not really embracing what made Austin cool, and we're not helping those cultural creators out by keeping them here or giving them spaces to do what they do. And it's the quintessential Austin story. It cannot be summed up in what's happened at Rainey. Predominantly Latino, Black community. These investors come in, start buying up properties, put in some buildings, and then, it loses the charm of what it was, as a hotbed entertainment strip. And then, now it's just high rises and, the bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
I know. I'm trying to think of a happy note to end on or something, but it's just depressing.
The happy note is that you don't ever have to go there. You don't want to.
I know, but now I want to go to Half Step. I just followed them on Instagram. The calendar is packed this month.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
And I haven't seen Canned Beats yet, so I really want to do that just because I'm nosy and I need to know what you're doing.
That's right.
And I like but I think we're all in agreement. I think I am curious to see how the years will fold out for Rainey, but I don't know. I am not optimistic that anything is going to change for the better anytime soon. No. That's just my take on it.
It is not looking good.
We'll meet back here next year.
In a year. We're going to meet back here in a year. And I feel like Doug is going to be like, I hate it. I'm never going back ever again.
As long as Half Step's there, I'll keep going back.
I love that.
When I have a night off during the week, especially on a Tuesday, I'm going to start or end my night there. I truly love Half Step and what they've done. And, I've helped that music program grow over the past decade or so. from, us being the only band to then there being a couple bands during the week. And then I built up a music program as the talent buyer back in 18, 19, where we had 9 shows. It was 7 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we would double up on the weekends with like a band during the day and then another show at night. So, yeah.
So you are doing that investing that we were talking about. You are investing.
I was trying, yeah. And then, pandemic hit. I kind of helped revitalize that music program and then turned over the keys because it was just one extra thing that I just didn't have the capacity for. But yeah, it's a gem. If anyone listening, definitely go hang out at Half Step.
Yeah.
We have plans on how to make Half Step even better. You need a ownership and leadership of that establishment to believe in what you're doing, and and then those accountants to see the return on investment of why it's worth paying bands a decent wage, because you're getting quality acts, and those quality acts are keeping people there. They're drawing people in off the street, and you're seeing a positive increase on your bottom line.
Austin, this is where we come in. If you see something in the community that you like, if you see an establishment that has that Austin charm, that's keeping Austin artists and musicians paid, then go to those places. Mm-hmm. You don't want those places to go away, so you have to go to them. You have to go and make that effort and show that you are going to keep coming back and keep coming back. So that's on that. We got to make sure we show up.
And I promise if you go to Half Step once, you'll be hooked.
Okay, so the thing that we all agree on is that Rainey Street will never not be part of Austin. So no matter what phase or era it's in.
Correct.
Kelsey, dog, this was great. Thank you so much for joining me and talking about Rainey Street.
Thank you so much for the invite, and it's an honor to be a part of the CityCast family now.
Listen!
Yeah.
Look, I'm getting everybody.
I'm a big fan of the podcast. Obviously, Selena turned me on to it, but yeah, I love what y'all are doing and keeping people informed.
Thank you.
Thanks. Dang it. All right, y'all. Bye. That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and of course, subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. And if you really love us, I keep saying, help support us by becoming a neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. And you know why that's cool? Because if you join now, you will get an invite to come hang out with us on Ham Day and support our local musicians. So what's cooler than that? We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.